Hello, everybody. Valentin Todorow here from Elire. On today's PTF session, we're going to talk about archiving and moving our PTF tests out of one environment into another environment. Okay. The primary and kind of the most used method to do this is through App Designer. So as we know, and in previous videos, I've covered the architecture. PTF itself is configured against the PeopleSoft environment, and all of the logs, the test scripts, the test data, are stored within that database that is configured against the app server. So, and those objects are actually migrated and managed through App Designer. So the first thing I'm going to open up here is App Designer. Okay, we're going to start with a blank project, nothing in this project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of my objects, all the PTF objects that are in here, the tree structure themselves, through App Designer itself. Okay, and that will move over not just the scripts, but the values as well. Okay, so what we want to do in a blank project is go to Tools, Insert, Definition into Project. Okay, and in the definition type, what we want to select are tests. Okay, so down here. Now be cautious because there's test cases, and then there's just tests. Okay, if you're trying to just do everything, and move everything, including the test cases, you want to select tests and then highlight the related definition of queries and test cases. Okay, and this doesn't select the actual queries. This is actually the data loader definitions and the queries behind that. Okay, sorry, not the queries behind it, but the data loader definitions themselves. Okay, so we want to do the test cases, queries, and tests, and then do a general search. This one retrieved 627 total objects. So you'll see you have the tests and the test cases in here. We'll select them all, and then we'll insert them into this project. Okay, and there we go. It's done inserting them. You'll see there's my 627 tests, and those 627 tests have a total of 815 test cases. Okay, you won't see them here on the project, but if you go to the Upgrade tab, you'll see them right here. You can see all of them are listed out in here, and it will of course also capture your tree structure. So if you do have a nice organized method and set of scripts, this will also be copied over. Years and years ago, I would try to do all of this through DMS, but it kind of would lose some of its structure here, and I'll get a bunch of errors. So try using just App Designer or Fire. There's object definitions in there for moving these. So you selected them all. Obviously now you want to save all of your projects. So a single project, actually, call this, your PTF archive of the specific date time, maybe. Okay, save that off, and then you have the ability to copy this project to another database or just to a file. Okay, one thing to be cautious of if you do, do it to file, it's going to give you when you press copy. Okay, one thing to be cautious of when you do press, copy and copy these objects to a specific location is you'll get this warning message. It's been around for quite a long time, and it's okay. It just tells you that you can't import this into a tools prior to 8.5.1, which I don't think there's a lot of people out there with versions prior to 8.5.1 nowadays. But and this is because 8.5.1 was the initial release of PTF, and that's when the PTF tables became part of the database, and you would get a bunch of errors if you try to do this in previous releases. Just press OK on this one, and it says the same for the test cases. So the previous error was test scripts. This is for test cases, and then press OK. And then it's going to start copying all of those objects to an XML file and to a physical, location on a drive. Okay. So it's doing this, and this is how you can, you can select individual tests, obviously, for that menu, and you can easily do it. Now, there's another way to create and move projects with PTF, and this came about in about 8.5.7 or so, and it's been around ever since. Within this little drop down where it's going to see, your environment, at your environment, you'll also have this projects, and you have to have the PTF administrator role for this one. So you'll select projects, and this is actually a location. You have to have App Designer access and PTF administrator to do this, of course. Or you can actually create the App Designer projects right here. So you might give this to somebody and have them, okay, so take only your gold scripts out of here, and what your gold scripts are, and then a PS admin would go and move those. So here we can actually create a new App Designer projects and say these are VT's projects, okay, or maybe a specific module, whatever you want to call this project. you create the project definition, and then you can insert tests right through here. So maybe I want to go in my finance. I want to extract all my accounts payable scripts. You select that folder, and all the scripts and the test cases from that folder will get placed into that project. You press apply, and effectively that project has been created. You can't export it out of here or remove it, but you can manage that specific project right here from PTF itself. Okay, so we're only in PTF, we're not an app designer. You can deselect things, you can move them, remove them, insert new tests to a project. So it's a very lightweight management tool for your tests that you can do from PTF. Okay, and now when we jump over to App Designer, I'm going to close this project off. We can actually open it up, look for projects that are VT underscore, and there it is, VT project. Open that up, and you can see that it only has those 67 test cases, 58 tests, and I'm sure all of these are related to asset management. Sorry, not asset management, accounts payable. There you go, AP, right? Okay, so those are the two ways, and so this is the method for most tests and test cases. Now, the third element that is housed within these tables, and it's critical, are the logs. And you'll see here, there's nothing talking about the logs themselves. Those are not managed through App Designer. Those actually can be exported via data mover. Okay, so any kind of logs. So if we go here to some of this training, and we have any logs, you'll notice that it looks like we've cleared most of the logs. I think in the previous session when we did the log manager, I think we cleared all the logs. Those logs go through data mover. Okay, so this is a data mover script, and effectively all you're exporting are the log tables. So you have the underscore image table, the list table, the lines table. The list is kind of the high level, all the things that are on your system. The lines are the granular pass fails that you might see in a log, some options and the actual execution options as well. So what you would do is just open up data mover, set your output and your log directories and path, run this, and it will export all of the logs themselves. Now, be cautious once you've exported these logs through DMS. If you try to kind of recapitulate and re-import these into an environment where the scripts are different, obviously you wouldn't be tied. You would just have kind of orphan data sitting in these newly imported environment where, maybe for this none for all test, this no longer exists. You might have loaded that log into it, but if that test doesn't exist in the new environment, kind of the target environment, you'll never be able to open up that log itself, okay? Or if you do have a test, maybe this usage monitor ePro sample test, for example, I think this one might have logs, it does have logs. You might see that log in there, so maybe we've re-imported it from an older version, and you'll be able to open it up and look at it, but it won't be tied to a specific line in the test. So in a log, whenever you click on like the quantity rec and it double clicks and it opens a test on that line, you won't have that capability with an old log where the original script has changed, okay? But it is a good way to kind of archive your logs for audit purposes, to make sure that you have a record for them. If you are, just making sure that nothing gets lost, it's a good way to have a history of everything that's been run, okay? And if you are kind of incrementally creating folders and folders and folders within the logs, then you'll be okay to keep importing them using the DMS script, okay? So kind of a summarization, you can create PTF projects from the PTF tool itself using projects. If you are a PS admin and you want to just move everything through a project, just do insert definition into file, throw all the tests and test cases in there, and you're good to go. And if you're also mandated to export the logs, then use the DMS script kind of shown right here, okay? We can also put it in the description of the video to move the logs themselves from environment to environment, because if you don't move the logs and you move all these scripts to your new dev environment, there will be no logs. It's just going to have the tests and the test cases in there, and the logs will be null, okay? So hopefully that gave you a kind of a quick high-level glimpse of how to move and archive PTF tests. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.